associations may be disorganized, and time and space relationships are lost.
What's going on, people? We are back at it again with the Budtenders Podcast. It is me, Jorrell, and you already know I got my road dog, my partner in crime, Rocky.
What's going on? And
hello, everybody. It is Joe, your host with the most Joe. But today I'm sipping on a little beer. We're not going to reference whatever brand we're sipping on right now because we're in Las Vegas and we don't have sponsorship deals. But it is good to fucking be back here on the Hippy Speedball / High Budtenders Podcast.
Yes, buddy. I've been waiting for this. Yeah,
forever. We've been waiting for. So you know, like on CW, whenever the Flash and Green Arrow combined,
it's like
this is the podcast version of that.
Man, we wanted to have you on the podcast because, first of all, I love your podcast.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Shout out to Shelby and Betsy for being my fucking right-hand people. Like, the only reason why the podcast is what it is. I might be a good host, but they capture the beautiful images. Betsy is our fucking backbone. Shout out to Shelby and Betsy. Just want to throw that out there.
yeah, Shelby and Betsy. Do you have I noticed you have like a lot of music artists on your podcast. Yeah. Is that intentional?
So yes and no. For those that don't know, the Hippy Speedball Podcast is basically it. If you ever smoked a bowl or had a cup of coffee with a really cool person, then you end up learning something you don't even realize you want to know. That's the Hippy Speedball Podcast. So for musicians wise, I just want to throw that out there.
That's the best.
So I have a music background, and so like I've played in punk bands, I've played in different bands, I have a lot of writing experience, and so musicians originally kind of hit me up first. Nice. and then I was like, oh, I really like talking music with with everybody, and so it just kind of naturally just kind of flowed that way. And then I have people from the local hip hop community that are reaching out, amazing artists, super fucking underrated people that are over in the Rose City right now, and I'm really glad to help them boost their shit up a little bit.
I love it because you they do the freestyles and everything.
Yeah. That was an idea I had because I mean, like 100%, freaking because of like Breakfast Club, like that sort of style, where it's like, the 5 minutes of death or whatever.
Yeah.
And so like it's I wanted to capture that sort of element and like let them show what their talents are, Right. And I try to adjust it based on like what they do, Like there was an episode I had. He's a really good local rapper. His name is Spencer Boston. YouTube gave me a fucking copyright claim because of his episode. Super bullshit. It's funny how their algorithms can catch. A video playing, but they can't catch when the artist himself is on the podcast and gives me permission to show the video that he fucking made. Right. He wrote. But apparently their algorithms don't catch that.
There's no algorithm for that. YouTube. They're like, listen, don't get too creative with it, okay?
Yeah, and so he did like this amazing just like acapella freestyle, but then fucking YouTube screwed us over. So I try to adjust it according to like what they do. Like Scooter Rogers was just a beatbox. He was acapella. Swiggle Mandela, really great episode. One of the most recent ones we just did. And he just has a really instrumental, like really just kind of like really kind of good hippie sort of background. And I had this really dope guitar track that I needed to get someone to rap over for a long time. And I was like, I just have this really cool little backtrack. And I was like, do something with this. I know you can. Right. He was like, yeah, for sure. Sounds good. And so, yeah, it just works out that way. And it's a lot of fucking fun. I love having musicians on the show. It's a blast.
Nice. They always have something to talk about. Guaranteed their lives are going to open up because they are artists.
If they're active, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's how it goes. I think you fall into that artist life and your life gets way more complicated than it really actually has to be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right? Well, and even kind of like falls like that with us with the podcasting game. Yes. I mean, like, it's kind of like, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, because of people like Joe Rogan and Andrew Schultz and people like No Jumper and all these amazing podcasts that are out. I mean, it's becoming like the new rock stars, really.
Yes.
Like, I mean, you tell someone you do a podcast. Is it not that people lose their shit
Yeah.
when you tell someone you do a podcast?
They're like, oh, you do a podcast.
Yeah.
I'm like, but wait, it's not a regular podcast. It's different. Yeah.
But it's way cooler than any other podcast you've ever listened to.
Well, let me explain. Yeah.
Which I love your guys' show, by the way, because I'm a really big fan of showing Budtenders a lot of love. I mean, you guys are the faces of the fucking industry. Like, and there needs to be a lot more love shown. And like, just the fact that you guys are called the High Budtenders, you guys work where you do, you have the industry experience you do, you have the knowledge you do, the guests you have. I really appreciate it. And so does everyone from the Oregon cannabis industry. I just want to throw that out.
We
there.
appreciate you.
Guys, yeah.
It was really kind of the way this ended up working out and the way it started was I was at work one day. Jorrell comes up to me and he goes, hey, you know, I have a podcast. I want to start a podcast. Would you be on it? And I was like, well, yeah, immediately. I don't even think it took 2 seconds for me. Yes, I would be. I would love that. That would be fantastic. And he's like, okay. So then he leaves me and I'm like, wow. Think about that shit, a Budtender podcast.
Yeah.
Where our voices are actually,
Yep.
you know, the title.
Well, especially here in Sin City.
Yes.
Like, I mean, you guys have so many ways to put your show throughout the entire fucking nation, throughout the entire world.
Right.
You got people that come in, you show their state IDs, and you're like, by the way, here, check out this podcast, by the way.
That's exactly how it goes.
exactly
and,
how it happens,
and
yeah.
we want to educate. Honestly, the whole point of it is a lot of people around in the United States that are not in legal states are not getting the education.
Yes.
And so we just
And
want
education is so important.
Oh my gosh, isn't it though? Especially if you want to work in this industry.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you want to just even have a good opinion on this industry, because I mean, think of how bad it would be if a Budtender was miseducated and somebody came in that never really smoked before and they gave him a wrong strain. That's going to look bad on the whole fucking industry. That fucks everybody over.
Ruin their experience forever. They might never going to come back.
That's exactly it.
Exactly.
And that was the whole, like Rocky said, like that was the whole point of starting a podcast, was just to get the education and let people know that Budtenders aren't just people who just sell weed or sit behind the counter, opening up a jar and handing, and putting it in the bag.
You're consultants, man.
Exactly. You're way more than weed
consultants.
sellers. Yeah.
Yes.
So that was the point. Get that message across. Get rid of that stigma.
Hell yeah. And good on you guys, because it's fucking working. It's working.
I appreciate that.
I mean, look at the recognition you guys have received. I mean, you got nominated for the Las Vegas Cannabis Awards. You guys have been featured for the Budtender Awards. I mean, you guys are popping up and you guys are less than a year old. Like, that's fucking, or around a year old. Like, that's fucking dope.
Let me tell you something. There's nothing better to me to flip through Instagram and then come upon an actual podcast that has some content, like some really good content. That's like, there's so many podcasts and there's so many excellent podcasts. Great cannabis podcasts out there. But it's always great to see when you're flipping through and you're looking and you're like, oh my gosh, the actual content of this podcast is real. And that is you guys.
Thank you.
For real.
That is not where I thought that was going to go.
Yes, for sure. That's what I really loved about your podcast was
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was super organic feel to it. And the way you engaged with your guests was awesome. It's comfortable, relaxing. You guys laugh, you chill out.
Energetic.
That's so important.
Oh, thank you.
I love that shit. Yeah.
I appreciate that so much, you guys. Like that means so much to me. Oh, one of the tricks to it is I get them really, really high on the podcast. Just, like, ask anybody who's been on the Hippy Speedball. They leave that show and they're like, fuck, I am stoned. They're like, you got me ripped, bro. Like, they say it all the time on the show. They're like, I'm having a hard time remembering this, like, whatever it is they're talking about. But that means so much to me, you guys. That means a lot because thank you. And like, I mean, because this show like started off just for fun, like I didn't even think that people were gonna like it. To be honest, like I just wanted to smoke weed and just drink coffee with cool people. That's all I wanted to do, and just record our conversations and listen back on it. Because like, wow, they said something really cool. I really wish I remembered what they said exactly. Let me record it instead.
But that's what it is. I think, too, everybody's bringing out a little bit more education in the cannabis industry. And you guys show how that intertwines with other things. How cannabis and other topics, music, and things of that nature kind of like intertwine with each other.
It's a whole culture.
It's, yes, exactly. And we want to retain that culture, too.
Yeah,
so that's what's so great about having these podcasts.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Well, and especially from like, educated people like ourselves that have worked in the the industry. We've been in the trenches. Our boots are muddy before legalization. Like, we've been fighting this shit forever. My names are on fucking petitions and ballots. Like, my signature is right there a couple times on a few different things. Like, and so, like, I mean, it's sorry, what was I saying? I totally lost my train of thought.
Because you're high?
Yeah, because I'm really sorry.
No,
because
we're just talking about how we
podcast.
get...
I'm really stoned. Thank you.
Yeah,
by the way, they're supplying the weed. I just want to give a shout out to freaking Rocky and Jorrell for getting me nice and stoned.
Oh, you already
because I'm fucking balling on a budget right now here in Las Vegas. I got completely screwed with my hotel room. A lot of fucking money. So thank you so much for getting me stoned, you guys.
I like to call that welcome to Vegas.
Exactly.
Because nothing ever ends up being like a perfect plan in Vegas. I always tell people, don't plan shit. Just come here and just wing it, because if you overplan this shit, it's fucked.
It's going to fuck you hard. It's going to fuck you harder than the porn stars who live here. That's the way it's going to go.
You just got to let Vegas do what it do. Like, let Vegas do what it do, man.
It's Sin City. There's a reason they fucking call it that. It's not because of what happens here. Just let the fucking devil play with your work. Whatever the fuck is going to happen.
Well, you were here last night anyway. We all went to the Las Vegas Cannabis Awards. We were both nominated.
Yes, that is true. I was nominated too. Yeah.
That is I mean,
yeah.
What a
Double
great
fist
honor,
bumps to you
right?
guys.
Pal,
Yeah.
for sure.
Like, for fucking being brand new podcast and being fucking nominated for a cannabis award. That's pretty damn
But
cool.
I feel like even bigger than that, like, being brand new podcast, and we were both at like the G4 Live event. Like, I felt like we were way ahead of our time.
Way ahead of the time, bro.
Yeah, like, how was that for you?
Yeah, it was. Oh man, incredible! It was so amazing because, like, it's just like I said, I never really thought people would even like this show, and then when I had Keith on the podcast. Like, the fact that he was like, dude, I love you. He was like, we're going to freaking hang out when you're at G4. I'm like, what? Like, that's crazy to me because, like, so for the people that don't know me and the people that are listening, I was a gray man. I was living in the shadows forever. Like, I was not on social media for all of 2020, for a good almost 2 years before then. Yeah. Like, I mean, I had just been completely disappeared from the entire, like, sphere of things. And then when I dropped on here and then everyone's like, yo, dude, I like you a lot. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, and then being at G4 Live, being at the Budtender Awards was such a fucking honor. Shout out to Keith Allen for putting on such an amazing event. And his fucking wife. I met her. Mara's dope as shit. Like, she was amazing because we all know behind every great man is a great woman.
Right.
That's the fucking way it is.
But how many expos can you say, hey, I know the person who runs this expo? The reason why is because they make it a point to get to know everybody.
Yes.
How wonderful is that?
Exactly.
And shout out to them for, like, looking out for the little people and not forgetting about us.
Right.
Because there were
exactly.
huge podcasts there.
Cannabis Talk 101, the Pop Brothers at Law were, like, right there.
Yeah.
And we were right there next to them. Like, I love that shit, man.
Telling people to shut the fuck up. It was awesome.
Right? It was amazing. And, like, just recently, we got a message from Cannabis Talk 101 telling us to keep doing what we're doing. We see you. That's what they said. We see you. Fuck
yes.
And
that
I
is
was
so
like,
cool.
Man, I said, this is like a surreal life for me because we started this because we wanted to retain the culture.
Yeah.
We wanted to have fun. We wanted to talk to people in the industry, pick their brains and shit. And look at what this shit evolved into.
Yeah, for real.
On its own, it just got crazy.
Yeah. Completely organic. Yeah. Like 100% organic, you know? And it's just been by putting the right sort of energy out there, putting the right sort of fucking momentum out there, and it's just... It's so awesome. I'm so happy for you guys. I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for all of us. I'm so happy for all of us. You guys are amazing.
Thank you.
It kind of forced us into taking it serious. Like,
right? That is so fucking well put,
like,
dude.
You know what? Let's have some fun with this. Then you sit back and look at it. You be like, man, this thing is gaining some traction.
For real, dude.
Serious because
for
it goes
real.
somewhere. Hell yeah.
Yes.
And that's the best way to do it because it's not forced or anything like that.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Yeah.
My first notice that it was starting to gain momentum was from my local dispensary. Shout out to Khalifa in Oregon City on Malala Avenue. If you're fucking living over in Oregon, if you're over in Oregon, go check them out. A really amazing fucking Budtenders. Super great product.
What part of Oregon is that?
So Oregon City is actually south of Portland. It's going more towards it's like southeast, going towards more like Mount Hood area, more towards like the wilderness and shit. Yeah, there's a community college that's right there by us called Clackamas Community College. It's a really, really popular school.
So these people just fucking, they are playing the
Show hella
podcast.
love.
Oh, dude, so much love. And Wild West Emporium and West Premium. So I've actually captured like 3 out of the 4 major dispensaries in my town.
Nice.
That's
So
awesome.
like I've kind of like took over their TVs basically and their airwaves. But they've just been showing lots of love, and they were really the first ones to say, "Hey, Joe, I really like your podcast." And I'm like, "You do?" Like,
Yeah.
that's pretty crazy. And then as soon as we started doing video, they started playing it in the lobby. Like,
Nice.
and then I had and Shelby and Betsy, they work for Wild West Emporium, the other dispensary that plays the show, and then they started playing it in their lobby, and then now they're playing it over in the Southeast Portland region too, because they have multiple locations throughout Portland, and so they're playing it in the Oregon City spot and the Southeast Portland on Duke Street. So if you're over in Oregon, go check out Wild West Emporium and freaking Khalifa.
Yeah, there's nothing like hearing your podcast in a dispensary. Honestly,
It's really cool.
that's it for me. I don't need it I don't need to hear it mainstream. For me, that was the actual goal. If it goes super duper mainstream, yay, I'm on board.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, I am super stoked about how this has transpired for
Yeah.
both of us as like podcasters, because
We're blowing
it's-
up, you guys. We're
so
blowing the fuck up.
nice.
Let's be humble and honest at the same time.
A humble
We're blowing
brag.
the fuck
It's a
up.
humble
Right.
brag.
I don't know
let's
if I'm on the
humbly
blow
brag
up
a
yet,
little bit.
but I will say that it's very nice to like hang out with you guys, especially people in the industry that are not in Vegas,
Yeah.
and they telling us how it is, and we can share really great stories, and you could see some of the similarities, and then some of the shit that just blows your mind.
I know, right? Which I was actually curious. Like, that actually is really, really great transition to a question I wanted to ask you guys. So, whenever you guys became rec, what sort of changes did you see in the cannabis scene? Because Oregon, we saw a lot of because also it really coincided with Portland really blowing the fuck up. And so like with Portland blowing up and the cannabis industry becoming in, a lot of corporatization came in real fucking fast.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, real fucking fast.
Yes.
And so I was wondering, how did that transition go, being from criminals to being able to fucking work in a dispensary? And how did you see the culture change?
I think it was definitely a culture shift. I think that's something that people just have to get used to now at this point. Just because I don't think that part of it's going to change, but that's my personal opinion. Please don't put that on paper. So
No,
yeah,
it's true. No,
yeah.
it's totally true. Like, and like, well, as long as corporate cannabis is trying to run things,
Right.
that's whenever shit's not going to change.
But that's going to happen regardless.
Yeah.
And like that was the biggest difference. It went from being for an exclusive group to everybody. So when it became for everybody, of course, that's more money to make.
Yep.
So I mean, it's capitalism. So you know, people seeing an opportunity to make money, they're hopping on it. Unfortunately, like, that's where the industry is going.
Yeah, for sure. I also think that to add to that, that weed and karma also really go hand in hand. Like, they really, really do. So those people that are doing it for dirty purposes will be exposed, because what is always done in the dark will come to the light.
Right. I feel that.
Yeah.
You know, here's the thing. I think once it does, you know, become legal federally, that's going to be, everybody's going to have to follow the same laws.
I have a question about federal legalization I want to ask you guys too.
So it will be more structured. And you know, it's definitely that's the reason why podcasts are great, is because we are retaining that culture.
Yes.
So yeah, the change was very, very
And we
different.
can't be censored, because
Yeah.
we can say whatever the fuck we want in the
Yeah.
podcast community.
Right
That's
now-
the great thing.
Yeah, for sure. Right now, I just feel like there's not enough time. You can't
Yeah.
give the customers as much time as you used to.
Yes.
And that's where it sucks.
It's so in and out. Like,
Yes.
you have to be able to fucking be like almost like a sales master to
Right.
really decipher the right words in the right amount of time. Keith gave you a shout out when I interviewed him on the podcast, and he was saying that like you asked him a question You were like, based on your knowledge, what's the best thing you think you need right now, or something like that. And I was like, that is a fucking genius way to ask it. Like that was like almost like an elevator pitch that you probably subconsciously thought of to be able to be like, hey, I'm gonna get you in and out, but I'm gonna fucking get you exactly what you need.
Right. I mean, you have to be able to. This is a. It is a plant that actually has some psychoactivity to it. If it's not just not talking about the CBDs and the Delta 8s of the world and how we can like pull those things. What I mean is, like it's a plant, so I feel like it has medicinal properties to it, has holistic properties to it. That you have to have some knowledge to actually represent to people as a consumer. It's not having a shot. It's not buying a t-shirt. Yeah. It's not, you know what I mean? It's a totally different thing. You know what I mean?
It's not buying a t-shirt.
Right. And so
that's like the greatest analogy I've ever heard.
Yeah. And I feel like it's not going to be like bartending at all. So we're going to have our niche. I think that we're going to be able to retain some of that culture and podcasts and other ways. Yeah. We're going to try to retain
the community.
The community feel and how we can all network and that whole deal. And I think that people worry about that going away because federal legalization is going to remove it. But that's up to us.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We have to fight for that.
Exactly. Yes. So great transition, by the way. The segues are pretty impressive on this fucking thing, on this podcast. So I was thinking about this earlier today. I was thinking, do you think it would be better, as far as federal legalization, to actually have the federal government legalize it like it is with alcohol, or do it state by state?
I would say state by state.
Me too.
Oh, sheesh.
The only reason why
that's such a hard question. I mean, for me,
because I don't trust the government to
with
do
anything.
It the right way. Yeah, with anything. Very true.
With anything,
especially with cannabis, because it's just hard to believe that all of a sudden they'll look at it the way it's supposed to be looked at it after fighting it for so long.
Yes.
So
yeah. Exactly.
That's why I don't trust them to do it the right way. At least like with the state. I believe like Nevada, California, places like that's been like in it for a while or had medical for a while. I think they'll at least have the knowledge enough to say, okay, let's not lose sight of the medical benefit.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why I say let's just leave it to the state.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. When I hear people, I mean, honestly, I guess these are big people doing a lot of things, but like machines where you can purchase, like cannabis in a machine or whatever. I don't know if that's the best way of getting things out there, even if there's explanation, if there's a little tiny screen with, Jill that comes out and is like, hi, you've chose Granddaddy Perp. You made a great selection today. Let me know what we're going to let you know what you feel like. People are just going to be like, give me my cannabis.
I just picture one of those like avatar ladies that's just randomly popping up in the corner of a computer screen or something.
She's gonna be all perfect. It's gonna be super. I mean, for me, that's where I'm like, it's a little cringeworthy for me, because I do believe that engagement with actual human people, especially with your first time doing cannabis, helps people ease their mind, because a lot of what people feel is anxiety initially. So to break that anxiety and then get high, that fucks them up. So then some people will be like, I don't want to do this anymore. You're going to lose like 1 out of 10 people that are going to be like, why would anybody want to do this? Yeah. I just had anxiety the whole time.
So under like a federal guidelines regulation, how do you think that they would handle that sort of situation?
There would have to be some type of intermediary. I would think that would be physically there. I just don't think machines do it. Yeah. I don't even think people pay attention to machines. I mean, how many times do you go to the pump and listen to any of the things that are on that little screen? I mean, I don't.
I'm from Oregon. This isn't a thing. We have gas attendants in Oregon.
Shit.
Like,
okay.
what is the thing on the pump that they have?
So
on the
gas pumps, they have these little screens and they play like little ads and stuff for usually whatever the gas station is or whatever, little small.
What?
Yeah, and it's little advertisement screens, and they keep going and going and going. And yes, I mean, I guess you are going to hit a couple people, and then they're going to want to buy your product. Oh, I get a free 32-ounce soda with a fella hop. Doing it. Stop. Going. Got it. Because you drew them in with that. But for me, I'm just like, I don't know if I could do that for cannabis. I just can't see it. Like, thank you so much. You made a great decision. And then there's like a little, Lay's potato chip commercial that plays in the middle. Right.
Lay's potato chips, Taco Bell, something like that.
That's what I see those machines like, because they're gonna make them real jazzy.
Yeah,
it's cannabis, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What do you think about that? What do you think about like automated things that are gonna give you cannabis? Like,
I'm not for
vending
it at all.
machines.
Like, so I'm actually like, I'm super old school. I like my weed weighed out in front of me. Like, I always had this joke. Like, I think that because of people that grew up with legalization that don't know what we had to go through to buy our weed, there needs to be a dispensary that is just like a dude's living room. And there's only one strain you could choose from.
Shit ton of seeds.
Yeah, exactly. There's a shit ton of seeds, and you have to just like what the fuck you get, and you have to pay whatever the fuck he's going to charge.
Right.
And you have to stay for like 30, 45 minutes because the neighbors might get suspicious if you leave right away.
Just chill right here for a second.
And then after you accept this inconvenience, he's going to challenge you to Madden, Call of Duty, something like that. Jorrell's laugh was like, God damn it, it's always Madden.
And then you didn't smoke the weed that you just bought from him with him while you playing Madden.
Right.
He's not even gonna smoke you out. Like, he's just gonna be like, hey, let's match a bowl. And then he conveniently won't load a bowl. He'd be like, yeah, load another one. I'll load another one after that too. I'll load 2 in a row, bro. Don't worry about it. I got you. Oh shit, man, my wife's on my way home. You gotta go. You're like, you fucking asshole. You better give me those nugs I just smoked with you.
Exactly how that works.
Man, I used to always try to split out fast. That never was the deal.
Right?
You had to chill. You had to at least smoke one. But listen, I wasn't cracking my bag.
Right?
No, I'm like, you better roll some shit if you want me to chill the fuck
for
out.
real.
So,
hey, me too. Exactly. But to go back to what your question was, is I think that old school sort of deli style, weigh out the weed, chit chat with the bud tender, like, I think that's the way it needs to stay. And so I'm curious, and here, do you guys do deli style? Do you weigh out it right there, or is it all pre-weighed?
It's all prepackaged.
It's all prepackaged. That sucks.
It has to be sealed up.
So I heard this. I just wanted to make sure that it was confirmed. I guess Oregon is one of the last states to really do deli style.
Yes.
And so I really hope we can keep that, because there's a lot of dispensaries that already do prepackaged. A lot. There's a lot. And so, but there's a handful of chains out there that still do the deli style, and I'm really hoping that they can keep that. And I think that's where the passion, the culture, the business, every single aspect, I mean, the underground nature, every single aspect of cannabis comes together.
Yeah.
Because like, it's that time where you can sit there and bullshit while they're fucking weighing out your weed and everything. Like, and they're all like, so what's up, Joe? How you doing today? Like, and then every time I walk into my fucking dispensary, it's like Norm from Cheers, because they watch me on the TV. They know me in person. So they're all like, hey, Joe. They're like, what's up?
But I think that's what they're trying to get rid of. I feel like they
really are.
Yeah,
they really are.
That's why I want everything prepackaged, put in these pretty jars.
Yes,
make it look nice.
And then to add what Rocky said, we got to fight against that. It's like we got to try to find a way to also, but not fight against it within our own spirits and what we want, but also find a way to come to like a middle ground. And like kind of, and also. That's why I think education, to fucking circle back to what you were saying, and I think education is so important. Because if people are educated, they're like, oh, shit, this is what you've been talking about for 90 years or however the fucking long it's been.
I mean, I believe that there is going to be a niche market for higher end cannabis. Yeah. So I always tell, like, if it's... people that work in bud tending, people that work in the industry, dispensary, I feel like if you have a great dispensary, you could still maintain. You just have to have the best level of service possible, because you are retaining a culture of that, where you give that that one-on-one experience to each customer. You just have to, in this day and age, you just have to know how to be a seller. You have to have the best, thought in mind for the customer. You have to be empathetic and caring, and it's got to be fast as fast as possible. Mm-hmm. And that's the part of things
So
where
maybe a little sales training would help in
Yeah.
there, because like learning like the right kind of vocabulary. Okay, it's like, so for instance, earlier in the show when I described my podcast, saying like whenever you're smoking a bowl, having a cup of coffee, and you learn something you don't even realize want to know, you were like, that's like the greatest description ever. I created that as an elevator pitch.
Right.
Like, so, okay, someone's like, what's your podcast about? That's what I could tell them. So do you
Yes.
think maybe that would actually help? So maybe we can incorporate some sort of like vocabulary sales training in the sort of thing so we can maintain that culture. So that way it's not necessarily like sales in the sense of like trying to make as much money as possible, but learning how to cater your words to educate someone in the most effective way possible in the least amount of time.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Make it about the customer. Make it
Yeah.
about
Cater the conversation.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like that's definitely going to be something that we have to continue to focus on.
Yeah.
If not, make it a little bit more. I don't know. I mean, Budtenders, don't kill me. I love you guys. We're all the same. Certification is important. Like, I feel learning things and making sure you've retained that knowledge is key. Giving people the right amount of training in learning about cannabis and
evolving the knowledge too,
Yes.
because it's constantly changing.
Correct.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And, you know, I think it's just like any other retail experience. You should be able to train those people until they understand the product and at least
Yeah.
can speak to it by knowing the ingredients
For sure.
inside of the plant, right? The terpenes, the build of that actual plant.
Yeah, and exactly. And learning that knowledge, especially like for a first time consumer, can really, really be like it's really important to educate them as effectively
Right.
as possible to do
Yes.
that.
And that, not even like for the first time consumer, because I've had customers come in and think they know what they might want or need, and when I just
Yeah.
happen to say, well, like this might do this to you, and they was like, whoa, wait a minute, really?
Yes.
Okay, hold on, let me look at something else.
Yeah.
So like just giving that information that like everybody, like not just the new consumers, even the people that's been smoking for years, because like you said, we get new information all the time, constantly learning. So if we just share that to as many people as possible, I think like we'll do a better job at it, we'll do a better job of keeping that culture for sure.
Yeah. And it represents the industry on a positive light, especially for non-consumers too, because that's one thing that we also need to really show a lot of love to is allies. People that don't smoke, but they're down with it.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like, I don't care if you smoke, as long as you're cool with me smoking. Like,
Right.
it's like that. We need to show a lot of love to allies. I have a couple people that are coming on the podcast that are not weed smokers, and they're going to be coming on the show.
Yeah.
They're really fucking great. So, one thing, since we're doing a collaboration right here, and we're kind of like winding down right now, I wanted to get your guys' first time smoking.
Oh, excellent.
For me,
Yeah, your first
I
time.
was 16, just on my block in my neighborhood,
Where was that at?
South Central Los Angeles.
What?
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I
and,
wish I could say I'm from there. That's so cool.
But yeah, it was just one of the older cats. We were just smoking. It was me and a couple other friends, and I just remember laughing like just
How did you smoke? Was
unstoppable.
it a pipe,
It was a
bong?
blunt.
Yeah,
it was a
I was
blunt.
gonna guess blunt because it's West Coast thing. You
Yep,
know?
exactly. Yeah,
I smoke lots of blunts.
He rolled a blunt, and I'm pretty. It was stress weed, had sticks in it, had seeds in it. But I just laughed my ass off, and it was uncontrollable. Like my cheeks was hurting.
Positive impression.
Absolutely, I
Hell
loved it
yeah.
ever since. Yep.
Awesome. What about you, Rocky?
Mine wasn't as great of an experience because my cousin is like, at this point in time, she is a veteran smoker. She's been smoking for over 10 years. So she picked me up from school. It was my last day of high school. She's like, you smoked pot before? And I was like, yeah. No, I didn't. Yeah, I did.
You might think so, but no.
No, I don't. So she's like, okay, great. I got this really, really great Acapulco Gold. We're going to smoke this. You're going to love it. It's going to make you real happy. So we smoked it in the car, and she's Chiefs heavy. And so I'm trying to catch up, and I'm smoking it like a cigarette because I didn't know that, I'm just watching her like doing her thing. We get to Target, and I think I held on to one rack the whole time we were there. I was shitting my pants. I was like, what the fuck? When is this going to go away? Is this ever going to go away? But I was in that paranoid experience. That was my bad. But
Hey, it happens. It's
yeah.
totally okay. I've had some paranoid stories on the podcast. It's totally cool.
Yep. And then, you know what? I waited a few months and tried it again with a bunch of friends, and it was really chill, cool, and relaxed.
Hell
And
yeah.
I loved it. I ate like crazy person after it was the craziest fucking thing that ever happened
What did
to
you
me.
eat?
Fried chicken.
Fuck yes.
I tore some fucking fried chicken up. I remember that shit.
Was it any like from any particular place? Was it from KFC?
Oh,
was
yeah.
it from Popeyes? Was it from like
No.
a store?
At 2:00 in the morning, you have to get some shit from Harold's Chicken Shack in Chicago. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay,
Something that's
okay.
open till like forever, 24 hours. You
Shout
know?
out to my homegirl Aletha, who I met at the Budtender Awards. She's from Chicago.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, that's awesome, dude. Thank you so much for sharing those stories.
No
Hell
worries.
yeah,
How
man.
about you, bro?
My first time
First
smoking.
time smoking.
Yes.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Sounds good. So I was. Funny thing about me is I was actually like people thought I smoked weed before I smoked weed, like we were just talking about, and I actually didn't start smoking until I was 16, and my friend had been trying to get me to smoke for like a year at this point, and I was just kept playing like, nah, I'm not ready yet, And then we were sitting at a bus stop one time, and then he just out of shits and gigs, like he always does, offered me the pipe, and this time I was about to say yes, and I grabbed the pipe, and then immediately after I grabbed the pipe, I was about to hit it. A fucking like family turned around the corner with a bunch of fucking kids, and this was whenever it was very illegal, very looked down upon, and so we were like shit, and we fucking put our shit away real quick. I didn't get a chance to hit it. Luckily, we were already on our way to my house, and my family was gone that night, so we just had the house to ourselves. And I decided to smoke when we got there, and we ordered pizza and watched Dude, Where's My Car? And we played Guitar Hero for a while. And I'm a guitar player. I normally hate that game, but it was a lot of fun whenever we were stoned and shit.
That is one of the most culture is cannabis stories I ever heard in my life.
Pizza,
Domino's
Guitar
and
Hero.
Dude, Where's My Car?
Dude, Where's My Car?
I didn't even think of like how stereotypical that story actually was.
That's
That
hilarious.
was great. That was like the full experience. Like,
It really was. It really
Yeah.
was. And that's why it was such a positive experience, too. Like, I remember at one time we were trying to play Guitar Hero upside down, too. Like, because I was a guitar player and I was cocky. I was like, I bet I could do this shit
shit.
upside down. I suck at Guitar Hero. That's why I don't like it. And I'm like, I can literally play this whole song on real guitar.
Yes.
Like, real fucking guitar, 6 strings, all these fucking frets. What the fuck? But I suck at Guitar Hero.
It'd be like that. Man, you fucking killed it, man.
Oh, thank you. You guys killed it, too.
we appreciate the shit out of ya.
We're going to do this again. And I'm thinking, because I'm coming back to the Budtender Awards, and I'm going to have my whole team with me.
Oh,
Say less. Let's do it.
Okay.
enough said.
That's- yes.
Hell
That's
yeah.
it. That's
Yes,
it. We're gonna do
collaboration
that shit.
part
Hell
2.
yeah.
For sure.
If y'all enjoy this,
Which we know you did.
we're going to do this shit again.
Hell yeah. But before we let you get out of here today, you already know what time it is, man. We have to know what you've been smoking on. Before you came out here, what would you...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Of course. Lately, it's been whatever the fuck you guys have. But before I came out here, I've been smoking on 2 different farms. 2 different producers. Northwest Kind has this really amazing cherry cream pie that's I've been smoking on for a hot minute. Really good BHO. And then there's a really good company out in Oregon, from Bend, Oregon, called Dr. Jolly's. And I'm a giant fangirl for Dr. Jolly's. They're just so good. And I just smoked this. I have some left at home. It's like this GMO fucking sugar. This fucking sugar wax that I've been fucking smoking on.
yeah.
It's been really, really, really dank. I just recently actually started transitioning from flour to oil because I've just been spending way too much fucking money on flour. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to start switching over this way. And it's been a nice transition.
Nice.
Oregon is very, very good with our concentrates.
Very cost friendly for sure.
Yes. Yes. That's one reason. Okay. I love Las Vegas. What the fuck is up with your weed prices?
I know, dude. Everybody
Jesus
says that.
Christ. Like, I'm at a point where I'll look at I'll go on like Leafly and I'll look at the dispensary near me and I'm like, I'm not even going to fucking smoke while I'm here. Like, I'm just too much of an Oregon asshole to want to spend that much money on
No,
weed.
I get it. I get it. It could get bad.
But everything else about Las Vegas is amazing. I love this city so much. I have so much fun every time I'm here. And I had so much fun being on the Budtenders podcast. breakfast.
We had
Oh
fun
man,
with you
yeah,
on here.
it's hippie speedball all day. That's gonna be my
Yes.
new breakfast treat.
Awesome.
Is a hippie
Hippie
speedball.
speedball all day, every day.
What you been smoking on, Rocky?
I've been smoking on. Okay, so big shout out to the Secret Haze Cup that came up. I did a little bit of judging for them, and I wanted to give them a shout out. Awesome event, first of all. Thank you so much. It was amazing. I hope you guys got my submissions because I did try everything that I actually judged, which was great. But I do want to say a special shout out to Saucy for their infused pre-roll. It burns so good. Like, did you guys see how like it burned perfect to the
So
end?
evenly.
Yes.
It's so good.
Yes.
You don't get that
Because if
with
it was
pre-rolls
running,
too.
I would have said something. Like 100%. I would be like, God damn, can we fix this real quick?
I mean, it is. I mean, really, really great stuff. So, thank you so much. Shout out to the Secret Haze Cup for giving us that saucy. That was wonderful.
Hell yeah.
Jorrell, what you been smoking on?
The Pink OG from Tyson Ranch.
Ooh,
Yeah.
terps like crazy, huh?
Yeah, that was pretty good. Super, super smelly. I loved it.
Pink OG.
Pink OG.
I'm going to look that up. I've never smoked that before.
That's Mike Tyson's brand.
I love Tyson.
Yeah.
So much.
Hell yeah.
What a legend.
Man, we are super elated to all of our listeners out there. We thank you. And I'm sure you are super excited about every time you get a new watcher, a new listener. And
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, definitely tune in to the Hippy Speedball podcast every single week, everywhere. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon, Audible, everywhere you can possibly get a podcast.
excellent. And that's same for us. We're everywhere you can
and
get a
for
podcast.
everybody from the Hippy Speedball podcast, tune into the fucking High Budtenders podcast. And whenever I do post this on YouTube, I'm going to go ahead and put a link right there in the description.
Right there.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. You know, we're at www.highbudtenders.com/podcast or /shop if you want to pick up a t-shirt or any kind of little swag that we have. We're working on it, but it's actually coming along really, really well. We appreciate everybody for listening again. And as always, stay high, Budtenders.
And thank you, everybody, for tuning into the Hippy Speedball podcast. It is Joe, your host with the most Joe, with Rocky and Jorrell. And I will see you guys next time. Peace. That was so sick.
Wow, super dope.
That was so sick. I love both of you guys so much. You guys are so much fun.